a lot to say, but I don't want to say too much. But I think Stranger Things could have done better. That's what I'm saying, basically. You know, I think last night was the first night of it released, and I think the whole of social media was talking about Kate Bush instead of the actual quality of the show, because Kate Bush featured in one of their episodes, and the fact that, you know, there's a whole generation of millennials who don't know who Kate Bush is, which is just sad. So, you know, you've got kids watching Stranger Things who don't know who Kate Bush is, and that is what people are talking about rather than the actual quality of the show. And I think that says a lot, doesn't it? I've read a few reviews. You know, it's only been out for less than a day. It's been out for less than a day. I think it came out yesterday. And obviously everyone is right here. Everyone is loving it. I think I am probably the like 1 or 2% of people who are maybe being a tiny bit critical. And I'm just being honest. This is what happens with TV shows. This is their 4th season. Any good TV show, and don't get me wrong, I am a huge fan of Stranger Things. I love it. The first season was beautiful. It was, I've obviously gone back and watched all the other seasons to catch up and to get up to date, because obviously I knew this one was coming out. And you get reminded of what they created in that first season, that first show. And I think some people forget. And I've got a lot to talk about. I'll talk about everything that has gone wrong with the show. And now it's just become like with a lot of shows and like with a lot of movies, when they do trilogies, when they do sequels, it just happens. It just becomes something for people to like, you know, it becomes a franchise. I don't know whether Stranger Things is a franchise yet. I don't know. Maybe it is. I don't know whether that's the right word to use. But let's start off with the new direction. I don't know whether anyone has picked up on this. Maybe I'm just the only one. But specifically, and let's just get this clear in terms of context. This video, and it will be it's very clear in the title. Obviously, we're going to reference back to the previous seasons. But this video is very specifically about Stranger Things 4, the 4th season. Obviously, they've only released Volume 1, and I think there's obvious reasons why they're doing that. But this new direction that they're going in, if you haven't watched the show, it's 2-3 minutes in now. I would recommend that you fuck off now. Why would you watch a podcast and a review about a show that you haven't watched? Go do something else with your day. So this new direction that they're going in, the kids are older. Everyone's older in this show. You know, it's a few years later on in the show that they're, you know, basing it on. I think it's 1986, and it's very horror theme. You know, so they're influencing it on, like, you know, Freddy Krueger, The Exorcist, things like that. Apparently that's what they're basing it on, but you can link it to so many things that they're taking it from. It's not subtle at all. It's actually very obvious. And the problem when you do that is, unlike the previous seasons, even though they got a lot of criticism, because it was like, oh, Eleven has to save the day again and has to fight a big monster, and it's all the kids and it's all the town and it's the same thing every season, blah blah blah. Even though people said that was predictable, at least there was some kind of story and there was some kind of depth, and it was, you know, and they managed to get 3 seasons out of it, and it was like, oh, okay. And even with the 3rd season, they brought this Russian element into it, and it was like, oh, okay. But there was a little bit of mystery. You know, there wasn't too much. It was just, oh, well, we don't know, but it's there. With the 4th, even with the 1st episode, it's straight off the bat. There is no, like, you know, they're not even... It's a complete new direction. New characters, you know, even... it's straight down here at the bottom. But even the big characters from the 1st season, they are phased out. They don't get much airtime at all. It is completely different. And if you're a fan, you might not like you get my spelling right, you might not like that. You know, great example. It started at the beginning with Will and the Byers family. Joyce, Will, and Jonathan, I think three main characters. Jonathan doesn't feature in the 4th series at all. I think he gets like a cameo every now and then. He's basically just a pothead who smokes. You know, I think volume 1's over now, 7 episodes. And what does he do? They've destroyed his character. And Will, he doesn't do anything. And he was one of the biggest characters for the first 2 seasons. That's one major thing right there. In regards to the new direction that they're taking. And look, this happens. This happens with TV shows. I think somebody has gone in there, and I know Netflix are under pressure. You know, they've got to pick up sales, they've got to pick up subscriptions. I think because we live in a world where people are going to watch things no matter what, and Stranger Things is one of those shows. I think the actual quality of the show doesn't matter too much, because they had 2-3 seasons that were pretty decent, and the direction was very clear where it was going. I think what they've done is they've created a false kind of made up storyline where it's like, yeah, we're just making it up as we go along, which a lot of TV shows do. And somebody's gone, look, I don't care how you do it, but get it done and finished, and people will watch it. Because if you actually look, what I did afterwards last night, if you look at what people were saying on social media, people were reacting, people were talking, people watch it. You know, do they talk about the story, the writers, the directing, the actual... People don't think like that anymore. What people talk about is, you know, the very reactionary world, you know. And I think, to go back to that big thing there about why some of the main characters are phasing out, is because, you know, they've probably done like a focus group or something. Why were the popular characters are getting more airtime? You know, they're probably going, look, you did really well in season 3. Well, I'm going to give you a big push in season 4. I don't care what the fucking story is, but, you know, let's go for you. That's how this stuff works. I think as well, the horror aspect. I know some people might like it. I didn't. And that's not me. I know a lot of people say, oh, you're just scared. No, it's just... I think Stranger Things when it was created, anyone would say, oh, that's a little bit scary, but it was scary in a way that wasn't scary. And it was just done right, you know, because even when the kids were kids and there were some things that, something can be scary without you seeing it, you know? Anyone who's ever played, I don't know if anyone's a big gamer, but there's a video game called The Dark Pictures Anthology. And this whole demon, you know, afterlife, you know, consequences kind of thing, the knock-on thing, that's what that game is. And I think they made several games, the House of Ashes, Man of Medan, they did loads of them. Obviously it's a video game, but it was so well written that it won loads of awards. And if you know the video game, you would watch the 4th season of Stranger Things and you would think, because obviously in one of the games, it's based in a small town, it's got high school kids, and you know, they're getting chased around by a demon, and you know, it's chasing after them for something that they've done in previous life, or you know, all that stuff. And I was tempted to turn it off because I was just thinking, where have you got this from? Who have you ripped it off? This is not original at all. You literally just slapping the Stranger Things actors and actresses, and you're just using something that's been done before. It's not enjoyable, you know, compared to the other seasons, even the last 3rd season. And I think people forget how long ago that 3rd season was. Was it 2019? I think. You know, so there's a big gap. And obviously very rushed. I think they've rushed it. I think they've pushed it. I think they've tried too hard. I think they could have done it so differently and made it very good given the previous quality of the previous seasons. Which is, I just said there, rushed. It's strange because if you actually look at the length of the episodes, I think I said here, it's over 5 hours longer than any other season of Stranger Things. How weird is that? They're like 2 hours each, the episodes. They're like movies, you know, which is weird anyway. So I don't know why you would want to watch it. It does get a bit weird sometimes watching the episodes because, you know, when you're watching a TV show on Netflix, you kind of want like an hour and then go and do something, an hour, watch something, unless you're binging it, which is... So there's that element. We've covered the new direction, the link to the Dark Pictures, the video games, the lack of originality. We've got it all here. And also, again, lack of originality. You know, the serial killer, the music, the 80s themes. You know, we got stuff like Mindhunter for that. You know, we got... I'm not blaming Stranger Things. I think I'm blaming Netflix. And it's a wide problem. You know, there's a lot of lack of originality across the board. And, you know, I think it's very clear everywhere that it's very tough. It's a tough business. But I think Stranger Things could have done better. That's what I'm saying, basically. You know, I think last night was the first night of it released, and I think the whole of social media was talking about Kate Bush instead of the actual quality of the show, because Kate Bush featured in one of their episodes, and the fact that, you know, there's a whole generation of millennials who don't know who Kate Bush is, which is just sad. So, you know, you've got kids watching Stranger Things who don't know who Kate Bush is, and that is what people are talking about rather than the actual quality of the show. And I think that says a lot, doesn't it? So, and just to sum it up, to finish, I don't know whether people know this, but their final season, their next season, so after Volume 2, their 5th season is going to be their last season. And I think after watching all of Volume 1, I think it's pretty clear why. You know, I think look, the industry is tough enough as it is. I think the amount of effort that goes into shows nowadays is quite poor. You know, I think the companies and subscription streaming services, they value the subscriptions and the reaction more than the actual quality. You know, they would rather a mass of people, rather than taking a long amount of time making something special. You know, people don't think that way anymore. And they could have done that. You know, Stranger Things could have done that. They could have taken their time and they could have made something really, really good, but, you know, they're under pressure and they've got to get something out. And especially Netflix. Netflix is under pressure. And for me, it just sucked. So, but don't fear for all you people out there, because Obi-Wan Kenobi is out. So, you know, Star Wars saves the day. Anyway, that is my thoughts on Stranger Things 4. Doesn't mean you can't enjoy the first couple seasons. I certainly will. And enjoy the rest of your weekend. Peace.